Do you remember the nights when the kitchen table turned into the family bank? The dishes were stacked in the sink, the evening news murmured from the living room, and everyone gathered around a sea of little green and colored stamps and thick savings books. You could almost feel the excitement humming in the air, because each strip of trading stamps meant you were one step closer to something special for the house. The story always started at the store. Trading stamps, S&H Green Stamps, and in some areas Top Value or Plaid stamps, were given out at supermarkets, gas stations, and sometimes drugstores as a little bonus for your purchase. You watched the total ring up and waited for the jackpot moment when the cashier tore off a strip of stamps and slid them across the counter, like a small payoff for just buying groceries. Gas stations got in on it too. You'd pull in for a fill-up, and along with a clean windshield and checked oil, you were handed a few more precious stamps. Many families quietly chose where to buy gas or groceries based not just on price, but on who gave stamps and how many. Over time, this little paper bonus helped guide a lot of everyday decisions. The ride home was its own part of the ritual. Stamps slid across the vinyl seat, half tucked under the grocery bags, while kids leaned forward, eager to hold them. Someone would always say, "Don't lose those. That's our new toaster." Even before you turned into the driveway, everyone was thinking about the coffee can or drawer where those stamps would be stashed. Every house had a stamp spot. Some families poured them into an old coffee can, others tucked them into a cigar box, and plenty just dropped them into a well-worn kitchen drawer. You'd toss news strips in on busy days, telling yourself you'd get to them later. Eventually, that drawer rattled with the sound of paper, pencils, and the quiet promise of something better. Then would come the night someone said, "Let's get these stamps into the books." The drawer or can was dumped out on the table, and suddenly you had a mountain of little rectangles in every shade of green and red. You'd smooth out the curled edges, sort by type, and get ready for the most memorable part of the ritual, licking and sticking. Do you remember the taste of the glue? It wasn't exactly pleasant, but for kids it was part of the fun. One child might be the designated licker, another the official sticker, while a parent kept tally. That's one more page, almost another full book. We took it surprisingly seriously, because everyone understood those pages were worth something real. The books themselves felt important. Each page you filled was a little victory, a visible record of weeks and months of ordinary purchases. You'd flip through, counting full books and half-full ones, figuring out how far you had to go before you could finally trade paper for a real object. It was saving and budgeting, wrapped in a kid-friendly package. Then came the dreaming. The catalogs were magical, thick books filled with toasters, mixers, dish sets, radios, lamps, even small pieces of furniture. Many of us can still remember sitting cross-legged on the floor while a parent turned the pages, asking, "Should we get the blender now, or keep saving for the good dishes?" It turned shopping into a family strategy session. The numbers in the catalog were their own kind of currency. Items were listed not by dollars, but by how many books or stamps they required. Families would circle favorite things, write little notes in the margins, and compare. 6 books for the toaster, 10 for the dish set, 15 for that fancy lamp. In a world before online wish lists, this was how we dreamed together. Those little stamps even changed how we shopped. If one store had a double green stamps day, that might be when you did the big weekly trip. You might pick one brand of coffee over another because of a stamp promotion on the label. It wasn't just about getting the lowest price. It was about squeezing a little extra value out of every dollar you spent. And then, when enough books were finally filled, came the big day. You'd bundle them with rubber bands, double-check your count, and head off to the redemption center or store. Walking through those doors felt like entering a different kind of shop, one where the price tags were your months of saving, not the cash in your wallet. At the counter, the clerk would thumb through each book while you held your breath. The kids' eyes stayed locked on the toaster or dish set they'd seen in the catalog for months. When the clerk finally nodded and pushed the box across the counter, there was a quiet sense of triumph. No money changing hands, just paper and patience turning into something solid and useful. Back home, that toaster or mixer carried a story. It wasn't just a toaster. It was the toaster that came from saving stamps, from Saturday shopping trips and quiet evenings at the kitchen table. Every time you dropped in a slice of bread, you could almost see those pages again, filled with neat rows of stamps and little circles in the catalog. For many families, dishes, glasses, and everyday items came from trading stamps. Maybe your family had a stamp dish set, or a lamp everyone pointed to when guests came over. These were modest things, but they felt special because the whole household had worked together to earn them. And not every stamp made it into a book. Many homes had a drawer with a few stray sheets of top value or plaid stamps that never quite added up to a reward. Even those leftovers feel nostalgic now, little reminders of how common trading stamps once were, tucked into the corners of everyday life. By the 1970s, the trading stamp era was starting to fade. Inflation pushed prices up, and many stores quietly dropped stamps in favor of simple discounts or weekly sales. Gas shortages changed how people drove, and new credit cards and store loyalty programs began replacing those little paper rewards that had once seemed so important. When the stamps disappeared, it felt like more than a marketing change. We lost a small but meaningful family ritual, the simple act of gathering around the table to count, lick, stick, dream, and plan together. Today, loyalty points live in invisible accounts, but they don't quite carry the same feeling as those tangible little books we once held. If you were a child or young adult then, you can probably still remember the feel of that stamped book in your hands, the roughness of the paper, and the faint smell of ink and glue. Maybe your family saved long enough for a blender, a set of glasses, or that, just for show, lamp in the living room. Those moments taught us about saving, patience, and working together without anyone calling it a lesson. Looking back now, trading stamps feel less about free merchandise and more about the quiet teamwork that went into filling those pages. It was one of those small, everyday rituals that quietly knit families together. No big speeches, just shared goals and simple routines. In that warm circle of light over the kitchen table, we were learning how to work, wait, and celebrate together. As we finish this trip down memory lane, think about that glowing kitchen window from your own childhood street. Maybe inside there was a table, a stack of stamps, a few well-thumbed books, and a family leaning in close. If your family collected S&H Green Stamps, Top Value, Plaid, or any other trading stamps, share your memories in the comments, where you kept them, who did the licking and sticking, and what you finally brought home. Those stories are the real treasures that never expire.